Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Nonprofit Hub's webinar. In an unprecedented feat, I am showing my video because I feel like we're all just wanting to see some new people in our lives for a while today. Thank you, Justin, for joining us today. We have a lot of people online and are really ready to listen to some great content from you. How are you today?
I'm great. I mean, I guess given the situation we're all in, I'm pretty good. And thanks for having me on this show. I'm really excited to share information that I hope is helpful to all of the listeners.
Yeah, I'm going to get out of your way and let you present.
Okay, that sounds great. All right. So, thank you everyone for joining in today. I hope you all are doing well. I imagine most of you are working from home during these times, and also trying to figure out what happens next, especially as it relates to fundraising. And so I hope that today's topic is timely. I think that as we look at kind of the fundraising landscape, as we look at the rest of 2020, I think it's pretty safe to assume that fundraising is going to be different in 2020. I think we're going to see a decrease in corporate and foundation and major gifts. But today I'm going to talk about social fundraising, more low dollar fundraising, which historically and data shows this has grown during times like this. So I hope that today's talk is inspirational and encouraging to you and your teams as you pioneer potentially new revenue channels for your organization. So before I jump in, quick introduction. My name is Justin Wheeler. I am the founder and CEO of a platform called Fundraise. We are a fundraising platform, full service CRM for nonprofit organizations all around the world. And prior to starting Fundraise, I spent over a decade working in the nonprofit space, started a couple nonprofits, helped raise over $100 million through digital fundraising campaigns. So my expertise is within the digital space, and I'm going to talk quite a bit about that today. So that's who I am. Looking forward to any questions that you have along the way. I think at the end of the presentation, we'll jump into some Q&A. So look forward to being able to hear those questions and answer and help you all out. So let's dive in. Okay, so today we're going to talk about social fundraising, which really is an extension of peer-to-peer fundraising. I'd like to cover four things in this presentation. First, what is social fundraising? I want to make sure that we're all on the same page, that we have the same understanding. And I want to share some case studies. I want to highlight 3 organizations that have done phenomenal jobs at incorporating social fundraising into their overall fundraising strategy. And then I want to talk about obstacles, because I know there are lots of obstacles for organizations to dive into this channel. I hear them all the time. And so I want to address those obstacles and provide some solutions to get around those. And then basically get super practical, how to actually get started with social fundraising. There's no reason why by the end of this week, you can have your first social campaign launched. So that's what we're going to cover today. I'm going to go into detail on those things. And if you have any questions, write them down and we'll address them near the end of the presentation. All right, so let's start with what social fundraising is not. It is not posting on social media asking people to donate. That is not social fundraising, or any of the social media platforms that you're using today. It's not just putting up content and asking people to donate. So that's not what I'm talking about today. Social fundraising is definitely inclusive of these channels, and there are the primary drivers for social fundraising. But I want to talk about specific strategies and how to streamline and really amp up peer-to-peer fundraising using social, because it's definitely, from what I have seen and what I've experienced, it's pretty game-changing when you do it right. So essentially, what social fundraising is, it's peer-to-peer fundraising, streamlined, amped up. It's letting your supporters take the lead as fundraisers and allowing them to reach their audience through whatever platform necessary, right? So traditionally, we've given you this landing page. You can go and create your own personal page, and then you're trying to bring people to your page. Social fundraising is different. We're using a more omni-channel approach. We're trying to reach our audiences and our friends and our family and our networks across the different platforms they live on every day. So that is really the key difference between social fundraising and just your traditional peer-to-peer fundraising. So traditional peer-to-peer, just so we're on the same page, some of this is probably pretty straightforward, but I want to ensure we're working off of the same definition. So traditional peer-to-peer fundraising is, this tactic where you create a campaign and you give your supporters the ability to create their own individual pages. Also, it could be in-person asks for support, personal networking. Essentially, you're giving the person a domain essentially to raise funds and to track their progress, right? That's what you have seen historically to be the more kind of traditional peer-to-peer fundraising. Social fundraising is still providing that mechanism, but making it easy and seamless for the supporter to basically get into any other platform that they may have access to or they may have networks in, and integrate that sort of overall appeal through different social channels that's going to drive more revenue for the organization. So basically, how can we do this? How do we help your supporters have a more streamlined peer-to-peer approach as it relates to their fundraising? Straightforward, it's integrations, right? So make it easier for your supporters, your donors, and your team to run social fundraising. Here's a great example. My screen just went black. Alex. Sorry, please hold. My screen locked me out. It's locked out. There we go. Okay, sorry. If I lost you for a second, my screen locked me out, but it looks like we're all still here. So sorry for the delay. We're back. So this is what an integrated peer-to-peer approach looks like. Let's get a little more practical. So you have a campaign that you're launching to raise funds for a specific project or program. You launch a landing page, you talk about that program, you set a goal, call it $100,000, and then you invite your supporters to come and create, their pages. With a more integrated approach, the hope would be, how can we then integrate that downstream to other social media channels? And so we have this way to actually do that, and you can mirror your peer-to-peer campaign on Facebook through a fundraise peer-to-peer site. And this gives, in this example, Hannah the ability, once she creates her page, writes her appeal, to automatically create her page on Facebook. And what's nice about this is that Hannah can use her traditional page, right? She can text out a link to her friends, her family, maybe email people that are more relevant to be emailed. And then her Facebook page is going to notify her network that she's just signed up to create a fundraiser for the organization that she's raising for. So you're going to immediately leverage that network effect that Facebook offers through your friends' connection. And you're going to be able to, have these parallel campaigns whenever people donate on Facebook, when people donate on your fundraise page. They're going to be mirrored, and the data is going to be shared, and they're going to be always congruent to each other. And so this just provides the ability for a supporter to use more than a single channel for their peer-to-peer efforts. Increases campaign revenue. So what we're seeing today is that an integrated peer-to-peer fundraising campaign, aka social fundraising, is actually increasing the overall revenue of a single page by at least $200 between 4 to 6 new donors. So off the bat, you're going to see a lift just by making it possible for your fundraisers to integrate that information. The other advantage, and as a fundraiser myself, data is king. We want to know who's giving to our organization. We want to cultivate these donors. We want to turn peer-to-peer donors into long-term donors. And the only way to do that is to know who they are and to be able to communicate with them. So with an integrated approach like this, you actually are able to get that data in real time and are able to communicate and know who the Facebook donors are. So this provides a real advantage to organizations who use a more integrated peer-to-peer approach, leveraging Facebook's network of fundraisers. So that is an example of what one could look like. Another great way to leverage social fundraising is through live stream fundraising. And there are so many different ways that you can build live stream fundraising campaigns. So I'm going to talk about two different ways. One is on sites like streaming sites like Twitch. It has 15 million daily active users. And the individuals that are streaming, called content creators, influencers, it's a broad category of individuals that are creating content and have their own built-in audience. And so, as an organization, a way to essentially tap into this ecosystem is to prospect and find influencers who align with your mission, who align with your cause. There are millions of these individuals that exist on platforms like Twitch, Mixer, and so forth. And you could connect their stream with a peer-to-peer site, and they could raise funds, and through an integration with Streamlabs, could also overlay that information on their stream. So as people are watching and people are donating, names are popping up on screen, icons are popping up, donation amounts, total raised leaderboards, all of this stuff can actually be overlaid on the stream, and the influencer can talk about that as they're doing their normal stream anyways, right? So that's one approach to social fundraising and leveraging something like Twitch to raise funds. And by the way, influencers have raised over $250 million on Twitch in the last 3 years. So it is a channel that is ripe for disruption, that is ripe for your organization to actually get on and start raising right away. Don't spam content creators, build real, true, meaningful relationships with them, like you would with a major donor, because these individuals will be able to leverage their network for your cause if you start on the right foot. So that's one example. The other way is to essentially turn your own peer-to-peer campaign into a virtual event. Bring on the executive team, maybe the CEO, address your supporter base, and create a live stream fundraising campaign in the, normally I would say in the office or in the field. While we're practicing social distancing, maybe we have to get more creative and do it from our homes or backyards or wherever makes the most sense. But being able to broadcast a stream from a peer-to-peer campaign site is another great way to engage supporters in a new and engaging way. And the great thing about this is, streaming, you could stream to all the major channels: Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, and Vimeo. So many different platforms that you could actually use to create live streams, to provide on-screen donation alerts, and to reach supporters in many different places. And in case you're wondering what the top social media platform is for adults in the US, it's YouTube. And for some reason I've seen this kind of steady decline in the nonprofit community, where I'm seeing a kind of a departure from YouTube. And I think it's because the way YouTube has been used, it hasn't been used properly with nonprofit organizations. It's not a place just to put up videos, right? And hope that your channel will watch it. It's a place where you should be doing live streams, where you should be engaging with your audience in a live manner. Also, YouTube is great for running, if you do put up a new video, to run pre-roll ads on other existing YouTube videos to drive new donor acquisition. So YouTube in and of itself could be a whole different webinar to talk about the effectiveness of it, but it's a channel that should be a part of your overall social fundraising approach as an organization. Okay, so I want to share a couple case studies, because I think there's some nonprofits that have done this really well, and these are nonprofits that we've worked with that have used the Fundraise platform to power their peer-to-peer and social fundraising efforts. So these are some of our customers, but they've done a phenomenal job at actually really adapting to this fundraising approach. So I want to share some of those examples. So the first is Dressember. So Dressember is an organization. It's 6 people that run this organization, and they raised $2.5 million through peer-to-peer fundraising, right? So their main fundraising approach is all online, all peer-to-peer, and they call their fundraisers advocates. And they see thousands of people sign up every December, and by the end of their campaign, it's a 30-day campaign, over 30,000 people will donate every December to their campaign. So it's a massive network of people just raising for the organization. So this year they decided to turn on the Facebook integration with their peer-to-peer and take social fundraising to the next level for their campaign. And leading up to Giving Tuesday, so they launched a week or two before Giving Tuesday this year, they raised $340,000 through their synced fundraise campaigns. $340,000 of new revenue that otherwise wouldn't have been achieved simply because they turned on this new integration within their peer-to-peer approach. And what they saw, of the 4,800 fundraisers, 32% had connected their fundraise peer-to-peer page to a Facebook campaign, a mirrored Facebook campaign. So 32% of 4,800 people raised $340,000 plus in a few weeks with this integrated approach. And so, and really, like, their overall strategy and communication didn't change much. They promoted the fact that you can have a mirrored campaign. They promoted the fact that you should start using Facebook and leveraging Facebook as a part of their peer-to-peer campaign. But their overall communication strategy stayed relatively the same in regards to the way they were communicating with their fundraisers. They didn't have to hire somebody to make an extra 340 grand. They simply just connected their page. So this is a good example. One Tell at a Time, another organization we work with, supporting animals. This one is pretty fascinating. 69% of their 100 fundraisers mirrored their campaigns and raised $27,000 during October and November of 2019. $27,000 extra dollars that they raised through connecting it. And the other great thing about this, prior to having this mirrored approach, One Tell at a Time actually just used Facebook fundraisers. And the problem that they encountered as they would run their campaigns is they weren't getting, fundraiser data, they weren't getting donor data. And so they would run these campaigns and not always know who their supporters were in a real meaningful way. So through this integrated approach, now they're able to get 69% of their fundraisers data, and we're able to capture everyone who donated through those pages as well. So it was really a data enrichment. They were able to see who some of their top fundraisers and donors were as a result. Another organization, Barbells for Boobs, they've raised $33,000 through their fundraise sync Facebook campaign. And their COO, who is a creative genius, if you're talking about, if you're in the conversation of needing to rebrand your organization or improve upon the way your organization messages itself, this is a great organization to refer to and look at just the way they communicate, the way that their brand, their online brand looks. It's just a phenomenal brand. So I would definitely check them out for that perspective. But one of the things that they noticed was just the ease of use it provided for their fundraisers, being able to mirror and connect and leverage that effect. And so for them, they're an organization that really focuses on that user experience, and it wasn't a clunky experience to actually go from creating the page to mirroring on Facebook automatically, and then being able to communicate through automation with these fundraisers, their progress, and so forth. So they were very happy with the results. So those are some of the case studies. Hopefully those were helpful for you. I want to talk about some of the obstacles. So depending on the size of the organization, we come across all sorts of different obstacles. So I want to kind of help debunk some of those obstacles and hopefully provide some helpful solutions around them. So something we hear often is, I don't have a big enough social following, or I don't know any broadcasters. So with social following, what's great about an integrated social fundraising approach and giving your fundraisers, your peer-to-peer fundraisers, the ability to connect on Facebook, it doesn't matter how many followers you have on Facebook, right? I mean, regardless, if you have 100 or 1 million, whenever you post on Facebook, you essentially have to pay anyways to get that post viewed, right? So it doesn't matter how many followers you have on Facebook. What matters is you have a Facebook page and it's a registered charity, so that you can actually take advantage of Facebook fundraising. That's what matters. What matters after that is giving this opportunity to your fundraisers to share with their network. And again, 4 to 6 new donors, totaling up to $200, is a pretty big win for a single fundraiser. So if you have 100 fundraisers and average is 200, you could potentially see a pretty big lift there. And then secondly, as it relates to live stream fundraising, I've been talking about this quite a bit on LinkedIn lately, and it's the same concept of it's like saying I don't know any high net worth donors. Well, your job is to find high net worth donors. In social fundraising, it's your job to find broadcasters, streamers, influencers who align with your cause. Especially now, people are looking for ways to get involved. And so it's all about prospecting. It's all about finding these people, looking up their social media channels and handles. A lot of influencers on Twitch also have Twitter handles. Find them on Twitter, see what they're talking about, and if it aligns with your cause, reach out. So it's just doing the research and finding out who makes the most sense to reach out to. Another obstacle is, we don't get meaningful donor data, so it's hard to sustain this revenue. I think this is a problem of the past, right? And I think also when you're crowdfunding, when you're social fundraising, we have to approach it with a different priority, right? It's a way to acquire a bunch of new donors. And not every single donor is going to stay around for the long term. If theoretically, let's say you launch a campaign and you acquire 500 new donors, is there a way for us to try to see a 20 to 30% retention rate on those 500 new donors? And in regards to the data, that's with an integrated approach, that's no longer a problem because you can get the donor data, you can know who these people are, and you could do the right sort of cultivation to ensure that they really care about your mission. So this is an obstacle that is solvable with good technology and a strategy that helps cultivate donors in a way that's meaningful. Social media trends change too fast. Our team can't manage more social media. This is not more work for you, right? The technology is making it possible so that your supporters can actually raise funds on your behalf. So it's not managing another channel. It's a channel your supporters are already on, and you probably already have a Facebook page. So it's not actually managing more social media. It's really giving your fundraisers more tools to raise more funds for you. So that's how we have to look at it. If you're an organization that's like, well, we're actually not on social media today because we don't understand it or we don't get it, I think now is the time, especially now with the landscape of fundraising changing so drastically with what's going on in our country. Now is the time to engage and to leverage social media. It allows you to, it's a low dollar fundraising channel that could lead to much more significant revenue in the long run. This is, we work closely with Facebook, the Facebook team that is head of product for their fundraising tools at Facebook. These things aren't going anywhere. Facebook fundraising is going to be a thing for the indefinite future. So don't worry about it going anywhere. Okay, so let's talk about how to get started. I'm going to break it down by week so that hopefully it's practical. And by the way, if anyone is interested in getting this deck, I'm happy to share it with you. I'm sure Randy could send it out as a download. You can also email me, Justin@funraise, that's FUNRAISE.org. Or you can text me and 562-242-8160 is my cell phone. You can shoot me a text and I will send over this deck as well. So feel free to reach out through any of those channels. Okay, so let's talk about how to get started, and then we're going to open it up for some questions. So in regards to platform, it's all right. Let's choose one or two platforms where we're going to integrate our peer-to-peer campaign with, right? So I've talked a lot about Facebook today. I've talked about Twitch. I think these are two platforms where you probably could leverage the most, where you can get the most from the network effect, and also where you see fundraising as a part of the culture now on these social media channels. So I think Facebook and Twitch are two solid platforms to basically start integrating with. And so that's that. This month, alert your supporters based on your social fundraising plan. So, if I was running a nonprofit today, I would be thinking, okay, the world has changed overnight. Our mission still has to continue. We still have to provide the services that we're providing. We may have to scale back for some time, but we still need to raise some funds. I would be thinking, what is a relevant digital campaign that I can launch this month that will get our supporters involved? People really want to feel like they can make an impact, especially now, whether it's related to coronavirus or not. People want to make an impact still. People want to help, and so give them a vehicle to do that. So launch a campaign this month. Make it relevant, make it tangible for a specific program or project that needs funding, and make sure that it's integrated with one of the social platforms that you're going to try to expand upon. And then this quarter, use specific data to follow up with your supporters. So as you start running the campaign and the data comes in and you see you're getting new donors, new fundraisers, create a strategy to cultivate them, whether that's a phone call, an automated email drip campaign that welcomes new donors to the organization and introducing them to what has been accomplished and what the goals and vision are leading forward. Ensure that you have a solid communication strategy in place that's going to really help nurture and cultivate these new donors for the next quarter. That is my presentation. I hope it was helpful. And again, happy to share it with anyone that would like it. If anyone would like to talk further, you can shoot me an email, shoot me a text. But I think now we're going to open it up for any questions that you might have.
All right. Thank you very much for your content, Justin. And we'll just see if anyone has any questions. Oh, here's a question. What do you think about Periscope?
I've never used it, so I can't really give a great answer for you.
And I haven't either. So we're not good on that one. Yes, we will be doing a recording. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. Let's see. How about this one? How or where do people donate for those alerts that come up?
I'm sorry, ask that one more time.
How or where do people donate for those alerts that come up? For
those alerts to come
on
up
Facebook okay. Live.
Oh, right. Okay, so you have that's done typically through integration or a product called Streamlabs, which is a free software that you can download. And as you're recording the the video, it gives people the ability to interact with that video. So you can throw up like a donation button, and that information is pulling, that data from that donation is going to be shown on screen and so forth. So Streamlabs gives you the ability to kind of customize that experience and to brand it appropriately. So Streamlabs is the product that does that, and how our customers do it is they use Fundraise kind of as the donation, the facilitator to facilitate that payment, since we integrate with Streamlabs for that overall experience.
All right. Do you need more than regular Facebook to do any of this?
So I think if you're just getting started and you don't have like the budget to invest in other technology, I think using Facebook is better than not using it. The problem with just straight using Facebook for fundraising is you miss out on a lot of the data, both on the fundraiser and the actual donor. So I think having a more integrated approach that can get the data in real time is a better long-term play and solution. But if you're just getting started, I would say enable Facebook fundraising for your page so that you're at least making that as an opportunity. But you will not get the same level of data that you can get through an integrated approach.
Lots coming through here. I'm just trying to keep it organized for you. How do you find the right influencers for your organization?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think one of the and one of the important kind of things to understand and to really get right is that the influencer has alignment around your cause, right? So, if I'm an organization, it's the first thing that's come to mind. If I'm an animal rights organization, I'm probably not going to reach out to like a stream that is maybe like promoting meat or something like that, right? So like that's not a good alignment. So finding someone. And you could go on Twitch and you could look at all the different streams that are going on to learn about these individuals, to learn about what they care about, what they talk about. So go spend time watching their streams, interacting with them, and see and then from there, if there's a connection, if there's alignment on the sort of thing you're working on as a nonprofit, reach out to that individual. Typically, you're going to probably have to reach out through Twitter. Sometimes there are emails that they will publish. But typically, you're probably gonna have to do outreach on social media, and this is how a lot of organizations have connected with broadcasters and content creators to raise significant money. So, it's finding the step one is finding people who are aligned with your mission and care about it, and then creating a strategy to reach out and engage with them to get them involved.
All right. Do you have any insights when it comes to figuring out which fundraising tactics are the best fit when it comes to different target audiences?
Yeah, I mean that's a great point. I mean, there's a great question. So yes, there's definitely when we look at your donor file, one of the things that is changing is if you acquire a donor through direct mail, it's very likely that donor is probably also going to give online, maybe become a recurring donor, and maybe also still write checks. So donors have moved more omni-channel, and so what I like to look at is where did we acquire the donor? So was it through direct mail? Was it through a social media ad? And try to look at the retention rates of each one of these channels where we've acquired the donor and figure out from there a strategy that keeps donors engaged. So it really depends on the segment. It really depends on how the donor was acquired, what caught their attention. But understanding that data will definitely give you insight and analysis on how you should actually interact and engage with donors that are a part of different segments.
Melissa is asking, how, I know you touched on YouTube, but can you expand a little bit more on how to best utilize YouTube as a nonprofit?
Yeah. So if your nonprofit is using YouTube as kind of like a library to showcase all the video work, lots of nonprofits are creating videos around their programs, thank yous to donors, and so forth, and so are essentially using it just as a place to store all their video content. A great way to YouTube has a great ads program where you can actually pay for pre-roll ads to show up on videos that it's one of the second, it's the second largest like search engine outside of Google, right? And Google owns YouTube, so a lot of people are going to YouTube to do research, to find things, and so forth. And so running pre-roll ads, so before a video plays, it's like that 10-second, 20-second commercial to draw them to your work, and it could be leading them to your channel, to a specific video that you want to draw attention to. And so I think that is one of the ways that's just underutilized today by nonprofit organizations, and it's a great resource. A lot of nonprofits are investing in SEO and in Google AdWords. YouTube provides that same level of search engine optimization just around video content.
All right. The question about the data coming from Facebook, the donor data coming from Facebook. Have any tips on how you get that information? Because a lot of times they don't have to enter any personal information because it's all already in the Facebooks.
Right. So yeah, if you're just using, kind of goes back to the second question. If you're just using Facebook fundraising, you're gonna get limited data and not in real time. So Facebook, there is a tab on your Facebook page where you can download a CSV file every 2 days, and it's 2 days behind. So like if I donate to your nonprofit today on Facebook, you'll know who I am in 2 days. well, you'll at least maybe know who I am in 2 days. And you can download that CSV file and import that into whatever CRM you're using. With Fundraise, we've basically automated that process, and I also have access to more data. So we're getting, we're always getting the donor's first name, last name, Facebook ID, and a few other the donation amount, and we're getting that in real time. So you can know who these people are, and if they opt in to give us their email, then we're pulling their email. So that's one way. There's also a great, and this is more of like a service-oriented company. They're called Good United, and they help organizations who have hundreds of Facebook fundraisers acquire more data through bots and so forth on Facebook. So that's another approach that you could take a look at. It's more service focused than technology focused, but those are a couple different ways to get better access to data.
And then what would an influencer get in exchange? Do you need to provide payment?
No, typically not. I've not seen influencers get paid. I mean, they're getting the brand recognition of being a good human being, right? The same way of why people donate money. It makes them feel good. They want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. Influencers are the same way. They want to use their talent. They want to use their network to make the world a better place. And so what you're giving them is something that's impossible to buy. It's a feeling that I'm a part of making the world better. I'm going to advance this cause. All of my followers are going to see that, and they're getting that social recognition. So really, that's really what's in it for them. Streams that have done really well, that have raised lots of money, the organization has set aside budget for like giveaways, right? So a giveaway could be something like, hey, whoever donates the most on this stream today will be entered to win a trip to visit, this organization's program, like on the ground. Or maybe this, like, we'll get, like, for everyone who donates more than $25, we'll get this nonprofit swag, right? So setting aside budget to give giveaways for the viewers could be an effective strategy, but typically the influencer doesn't need any sort of compensation for it.
Yeah, I've seen that. Most times they're usually just, they love what you do, so they're going to talk about you and do the things, and yeah.
Exactly.
So now we're going to get into some specifics of some of the tools that are out there. So we'll see how we do. Can you create a Twitch account as a business rather than an individual?
Yeah, you can create a nonprofit. You can. You can create an account, and this is great for streaming. Like it's similar to, you think of like how you would create a YouTube channel. You can create a Twitch stream for your nonprofit. A nonprofit that has a really great stream. It's called Rise Above the Disorder. They're another customer of Fundraisers, and they use our Twitch integration. But they have a really good channel where they interview people that are part of their industry. They're providing really good content. So if you go to Twitch, you could just search for Rise Above the Disorder, also known as RAD, and they have a great presence on Twitch. But there's hundreds of nonprofits pages on Twitch as well, or streams.
Yeah, that's something that I need to explore more. I haven't been much on Twitch yet. Every day it's something new, man.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Technology changes, channels change. But and originally, like, Twitch started off, it's very like gamer heavy, right? It was, everyone thought of Twitch just as this gaming site, but it is so much bigger than that. There's all sorts of content that's being created has nothing to do with gaming. So it's a really interesting site that's just curating a lot of good content.
Yeah, it's interesting how things evolve too, because I've known Twitch, but I knew that wasn't me, and now it potentially could be.
Yeah.
So Brandy's asking, would YouTube work just as good as Twitch? Worried about her older audience.
So I think, there's the thing about streaming is you can stream to multiple platforms at once, right? So if you have a YouTube channel, If you have a Twitch account, if you have a different account, there's technology that allows you basically just to authenticate all of your company channels that allow live streaming, and then the broadcast goes to all of them. So you can, if stream where you have an audience. If you've got 1,000 people following you on YouTube, stream there. That's totally fine. Twitch is going to be better for if you're trying to interact with influencers, content creators. Twitch is probably a better place for that, and especially if you have at least a small audience, then there's business opportunity for your audience to also bleed into their audience. So there's kind of that dynamic. But if you're talking about just running a few streams, streaming to YouTube is a great solution.
All right. Let's see. What about Instagram or TikTok? Is that would those be helpful, or should you focus on apps that allow donations directly on that page?
Well, Instagram, has like the donation sticker. So you have that ability. You can't stream to the way that you can stream to Facebook Live. You can't stream to Instagram yet. But Instagram, I think, is great for it's like it should be like high quality content, like photos, video. It's a little bit more published or published behind the scenes sort of look at the organization. TikTok is I think too new. I mean, there's lots of interesting trends happening there, but still I think a little new to know for certain how major it's going to be in the nonprofit space.
All right. Here's an interesting one. Love to hear your answer. You ready for this, Justin?
I'm hoping. You got me nervous now.
Any suggestions for funding a whale research and conservation nonprofit? The projects are really long-term, ranging around 10 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, so, I'll kind of draw a parallel to a campaign that we helped work on, National Wildlife Federation. Here, their LA or California chapter, they were working on building this like wildlife passing across the 405 freeway because a lot of mountain lions were crossing the freeway, getting into neighborhoods, being run over by cars and so forth. And so they wanted to create this wildlife crossing, which was gonna it was gonna cost hundreds of millions of dollars to do. So they launched a capital campaign. It's going to be somewhere like 4 to 5 years or longer to actually achieve. And so basically what we did with them is we helped create kind of the initial buzz where they launched this like simulation and the executive director basically did this walk throughout LA where like the typical path of like the lions would travel, and she wore this GPS collar, and you can watch it live to see where she was at, and it was like a 3 or 4 day sort of event, and people were watching, donating, interacting through SMS and so forth. So they brought all this like hype, and it's that group that's kind of helped publicly launch the campaign, and they're still running the campaign. They're still trying to raise all the funds for it, but they just have created different phases of the campaign, different seasons, right? So the initial kind of milestone was we need to raise $1 million to get to the next kind of project milestone. And so what I would say for something like this raising funds for this the whale conservatory, did I get that right? It was whale conservatory, a conservatory organization helping whales.
Yeah, something. Yes.
Something like that. Okay. Then I would look at, okay, we got 10 years. It's going to take 10 years to raise X amount of dollars. What does the first 5 million do? What does the next 10 million do? And create micro campaigns around each milestone, because it'll be much easier for a donor to understand and comprehend, what 5 million can do versus 100 million. So I would break it up into different milestones and be and promote those different milestones along the way. And you could use, it's going to be a combination of obviously high net worth donors, foundations, corporations, and, peer-to-peer fundraising could also definitely be a strategy to leverage for a campaign like that as well.
All right, now signs of the times. Any suggestions for virtual events?
Yeah, so virtual events, there's a couple things. So one, if you've canceled or postponed an event, I think a great thing to kind of do in its place is to ask everyone who purchased the ticket to become a peer-to-peer fundraiser and to be a micro matching donor to their network. So if I was going to purchase a ticket for $250, or if I was going to go to an event and donate $500, I can match up to $500, and I'm going to reach out to my friends and create a micro matching campaign through like a peer-to-peer kind of effort. The other thing you can do is, like, if you're running like a gala, you could do a live stream paddle raise. And so whoever the keynote speaker was going to be, or whoever your auctioneer is, you can still create an environment where that can happen. You can do fund a need and ask people to donate with, and bring in the overlays on screen. So still make it this strong community-based event that's virtual, and using live stream and fundraising technology to basically power that and make that still a very community-focused event. So these are a couple ways. I actually just published today on my LinkedIn account. If you just look for Justin Wheeler, you should find me. I just actually also published a PDF, an 8-slide PDF, talking about ways to turn events into virtual events. So there's another great resource if you want like a downloadable PDF for free.
All right. I knew you'd be on top of that one. I can always count on you guys over at Fundraise for sure. Let's see. This is an interesting one as well. How are you getting a shout out? He's the most educated webinar speaker I think I've ever heard. Look at that.
Oh, thank you. I'm blushing.
Let's see. How do you encourage donors to sign up for programs that cost nothing to them, but the portion of the proceeds will be donated for a business? It's one of those, I call them the three-legged stools, where a retailer is involved, and that retailer, and then the person that buys stuff, like a grocery rewards card, Amazon Smile, essentially is kind of like this. Yeah, I think that's what she's getting at. There must be a local program where someone has set up a program that they give a certain portion of proceeds if you use their card. Does that make sense? I'm rambling now.
Yeah. What's the actual question?
The question is, how do you encourage donors to sign up for stuff like that?
Oh, I see. So I mean, I would look at, a couple different channels. I mean, your website is a great resource to drive people to different ways to get involved. So if you have like a get involved page, and you have some sort of offering like that, the question I would look at is, okay, how much actual donation revenue is this going to bring into the organization? And that should basically depend on the priority and the hierarchy it has on your social media and web presence. So if it's going to be a significant portion of revenue, maybe make it the main call to action, below donate on your website. But basically just use your online domains to promote signups. It could just be a normal like lead capture form that you can pass off to the partner, or maybe they have a form that you can embed on your site. But basically, know what's the potential, propensity for signups. How much do we think we can raise from it, and then give it priority based on that in terms of ways for people to get involved.
And then I think I'll end with this question. In addition to fundraising, do you have any suggestions for changing the way we educate the community on our causes via YouTube, or I would even say other ways at this time? To me, I'm reading this as we need to stay on the minds of our interested parties through all of the other communication that's going out these days.
Totally. So, I think depending on your donor base, the majority of people that will get distracted in regards to like a gift are going to probably be like more the high net worth and foundations. You saw like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, put 125 million aside to fund research and to find vaccinations for coronavirus. So I think those types of donors are going to be the ones that'll be a bit more distracted by what's happening. And also, these are individuals who donate based off of their portfolio. And right now, everyone's portfolio is down 20, 30%, right? They've lost all of their wins they've lost in a week. So I think these people are going to be a little bit harder to keep engaged as a major donor this year. I hope I'm wrong, but I think that's probably what we're going to likely see. And so then you have this other demographic, which is households, which is 74% of philanthropy in America. So we're losing this, the smallest pie of givers, but we still have this enormous pie. And what we saw in the Great Recession, 2008, we actually saw household giving increase. So I think the focus is don't stop telling your story, don't stop sharing your mission. Find there's an audience there that still wants to give, that still wants to be a part of pushing and propelling your organization forward. And so just find the right people and know who those people are. Talk with your donors, engage with your donors, be transparent about what your funding needs are as a reality of what's happened. But I don't think that the household giving should decrease as a result. It may pause for a few weeks, but if we look at history, typically we see household giving increase during times of disaster and even recession. Oh, Randy, you still there? Did we lose you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking. You could see that I was talking, but I forget to hit the button. I was telling you that we had a great webinar after the webinar because you answered some great questions, and I really appreciate that. I know that I took some things away from that, but yes, everyone, just stay on your donors' minds. Give them love right now. I'm writing a bunch of thank you notes, making calls to major donors, those kinds of things right now. Not to ask for money, just to keep on their minds and remind them that we love them.
Totally.
But thank you so much, Justin. We will be in touch soon, I'm sure, as we release more information on Cause Camp coming up, and probably the potential of it being moved. But we know that you're a huge supporter of that, and love to see you in person because you live your brand. You are a fun human. So
well, thanks, Randy. I look forward to meeting you in person as well.
All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll go out and do the best good.
Thanks, everyone. All right, I gotta jump on this. All right, I gotta jump on the other one.
Check, check.